Fear of political interference ahead of Polish presidential elections was sparked after foreign ads were discovered by a research institute. Antonio Costa praised Montenegro's progress towards EU membership during his first official visit to the country.
The EU's top court decided that the European Commission failed to plausibly explain why it does not possess the text messages between President Ursula von der Leyen and Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla.
Foreign-funded political advertisements appeared on Facebook across Poland ahead of its upcoming presidential election, sparking fears of attempted interference. Researchers say they identified political ads that may be financed from abroad, only days before the first round of the presidential election.
Nie dajmy się zmanipulować ani fake newsami, które Federacja Rosyjska rozsiewa od dawna w różnych obszarach. Robiła to podczas powodzi, kłamiąc, robi to każdego dnia, destabilizując Zachód.
The research institute said they reported the accounts to Meta and informed Poland's internal security agency. It comes just months after Romania annulled its presidential election due to evidence pointing to Russian interference. European Council President Antonio Costa praised Montenegro's progress towards European Union membership during his first official visit to the country. He urged leaders to maintain momentum on reforms and policy coordination, particularly in support of lasting peace in Ukraine. Speaking at a joint press conference with Montenegro's president, Costa commended the country's reform efforts and noted that the European Parliament had overwhelmingly recognized Montenegro's progress just the day before.
Crna Gora želi da postane 28. članica Evropske unije do 2028. godine i posjeta predsjednika Evropskog savjeta najbolji je pokazatelj da to želi Evropska unija, poručili su nakon sastanka predsjednik Crne Gore Jakov Milatović i Antonio Costa. Oni su istakli da Crna Gora predano radi na reformama te da slijedi spoljnu politiku Evropske unije. Costa je poručio da će Crna Gora imati snažnu podršku Unije te da bi volio da Crna Gora i prije 2028. godine postane članica evropske porodice. Marko Stojanović, Euronews, Podgorica.
The Trump administration wants clarity on how other NATO members plan to boost their defense spending to 5% of their GDP. The U.S. ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, insisted 5% is a necessity as the alliance is facing significant threats. He, however, did not elaborate on what those threats were. When Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine entered its second year in 2023, NATO members had agreed to spend at least 2% of their GDP on national defense budgets. U.S. President Donald Trump has previously cast doubt over whether the U.S. would defend allies that spend too little. However, some countries have become uneasy about Trump's links to his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin. Leaders are now expected to establish a new goal ahead of the Hague NATO summit in June.
Avem un război la graniță și orice român rațional începe să înțeleagă că apărarea nu mai este un serviciu gratuit. Adică faptul că suntem o țară sigură nu este o chestiune care vine de la sine. Apărarea înseamnă și niște costuri și una din perspectivele diferite pe care Statele Unite, în calitate de principal contributor la NATO, care este scutul nostru de apărare, și țările europene, a fost reproșul, pe bună dreptate, către europeni, că în timp ce Statele Unite au peste 3% din PIB-ul lor pentru cheltuieli de apărare, dintre care o parte se duc la apărarea Europei, țările europene au ajuns la 2,2-2,3%, și deci e nevoie de o creștere a bugetelor pentru apărare. Noi fiind cei mai apropiați din est, de zona de conflict, alături de Polonia, de țările baltice, cu siguranță percepem acest pericol destul de puternic și deci România, ca și celelalte țări, va trebui să-și crească bugetele de apărare. Există acest război hibrid Iar niște țări europene slăbite, în care nu există autoritate, în care nu există capacitate de a lua decizii strategice, pentru că lumea politică are niște conflicte insuportabile, nu se mai înțeleg între ei, cu un spectru politic divizat, nu face decât să slăbească apărarea Europei și aceste state își consumă puținele energii câte le mai au, să-și rezolve problemele interne, nu să facă niște politici care să le ducă la potențialul maxim. Era în interesul țării noastre ca frontul ucrainian să nu cadă, pentru că orice apropiere a Rusiei, orice avans înspre vest, pe litoralul Mării Negre, de exemplu, spre Republica Moldova, era un factor agravant pentru România și pentru securitatea Europei. Și deci am susținut această politică pentru că, în primul rând, este interesul țării noastre și al Europei, dar și din solidaritate pentru Ucraina, pentru că ei nu luptă doar pentru ei.
Kedden éjfélkor nyújtották be azt a törvényjavaslatot, amely büntetni rendeli azokat a szervezeteket, amelyek külföldről támogatást fogadnak el, és közben veszélyeztetik, úgymond, a magyar szuverenitást. A magyar szuverenitás veszélyeztetése rendkívül tágan van ebben a javaslatban körülírva. Ide tartozik a demokratikus vita befolyásolása, vagy bármilyen tevékenység, amely a választások kimenetelét befolyásolhatja, tehát például a kormányzati korrupció leleplezése. Ez alá tartozik. A büntetés pedig a külföldi támogatás 25-szörösének megfizetése bírságként, illetve ezek a szervezetek elesnek a személyi jövedelemadó 1%-ok fogadásának lehetőségétől, ami az egyik fő finanszírozási forrása a független civil szférának, illetve a független magyar sajtónak. Tehát ez a jogszabály, amennyiben teljes szigorral alkalmazzák majd, el fogja lehetetleníteni anyagilag a független civil szférát, illetve a független magyar sajtót. Tanács Gábor, Euronews, Budapest.
US President Donald Trump on Wednesday announced a series of deals between Washington and Qatar, which included a record 86 billion euros with American plane manufacturer Boeing. The agreement with Qatar to purchase 210 aircraft from the US company, alongside other deals, was signed on the second day of Trump's Middle East tour.
For the first time in more than 2 decades, a U.S. president is on Qatar soil. President Donald Trump was greeted by the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, here at the historic Amiri Diwan on the second leg of his Middle East tour. More than 200 international journalists are following the president's tour, but security is tight and only a handful of us have been let inside.
This diplomatic visit highlights the strong U.S.-Qatar alliance built on aligned interests in security, development, and regional cooperation. In his welcome speech, the Emir called President Trump a man of peace and looked ahead to the 2026 World Cup and other sporting events that will be held in the U.S. President Trump thanked the Emir for his continued friendship, describing the Emir as a gentleman. The president enjoyed the traditional welcome he received and made a special reference to the camel parade. He also gave praise at the design and craftsmanship of the governmental building. The president has confirmed that he will not take part in talks with Russia and Ukraine on Thursday, as he wants to stick to his schedule of the GCC tour. Laila Humaira, Euronews, Qatar.
The European Court of Justice ruled against the European Commission on Wednesday in a major transparency case concerning COVID-19 vaccine deals. Judges found the Commission failed to plausibly explain why it doesn't possess text messages between President Ursula von der Leyen and Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla.
That will be ready to use.
The New York Times brought the case to obtain access to messages about the procurement of billions of euros worth of vaccines. The court stated that if such documents cannot be located, the Commission must provide credible reasons and not just claim they are missing.
And the New York Times Company versus European Commission.
Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine was the first authorized in the EU in December 2020, leading to huge contracts in 2021. The New York Times learned of the messages in 2021, but the Commission could not provide them, leading to the January 2023 court case. Reacting to Wednesday's ruling, the Commission said it will study the decision and issue a new and more detailed explanation. It reiterated its commitment to transparency, though an official cited the difficulty of registering all informal messages.
A passionate European.
The court found that the Commission had not clarified whether the texts were deleted, how or why, and did not detail its search efforts.
Decision C.
The newspaper had argued that the texts qualify as documents under EU access rules and should be made available.
22.
The Commission now has 2 months to appeal the ruling in a significant case on EU transparency. Pfizer and its CEO did not immediately react to the court's ruling.